In this video, we'll look at what a pay item is, review pay item types and pay item liabilities, and how to create pay items. Pay items specify the elements that make up each employee's pay. For example, weekend rates, union fees, allowances, and others. Pay items can be set up and used for multiple employees. They can also be uniquely set up for a single employee with special requirements. Where do pay items fit into your workflow? Regular pay items are set up in the employee's standard pay as part of employee onboarding. When a new pay run is created, employees are added automatically with the pay items from their standard pay. Importing timesheets and importing leave will automatically add the relevant pay items. You can then review and manually add pay items in the pay run as needed. Tip: to streamline employee onboarding, you can set up employee profiles to automatically add the employee to a pay group with the typical standard pay items. Let's now look at pay item types. Open the Pay Item Types form. Pay item types also determine the default general ledger purpose for items of that type. Here, you can maintain the selected types for the pay items. Pay item types indicate what the pay item represents. For example, income or employee superannuation. A pay item's type determines its effect on employees' net pay. It can increase employees' pay, for example, income and allowance types. It can decrease their pay, for example, deduction type, or it can have no impact on the net pay but is still included in the pay, like leave without pay and entitlement accrual types. In an Australian site, you can add a default ATO reporting category for STP reporting purposes. Let's look at the pay item liabilities. Pay item liabilities control which calculations a pay item should be considered for. Here, you can see a list of all the available payroll liabilities in the system and whether they are active, added to gross earnings, or liable for super and tax. In Australia, you can also see the ATO category for STP reporting purposes. Before creating a new pay item, it's always best to check the list to see if it already exists and is set up as needed. If not, open the Pay Items form to create a new one. Start by entering the Pay Item ID, which needs to be unique and readily identifiable in the employee's pay details. The description and payslip label by default are the same, but you can change the payslip label if required. The pay item type represents what type of pay item it is, for example, income, deduction, or super. These are maintained on the Pay Item Types form. Next, select the tax required for the pay item based on your country. If you choose the taxable, custom rate, an extra field appears for entering a tax percentage. In Australia, you will have a checkbox to tick if you use this custom rate tax option for legislated return to work purposes. Let's now look at the attributes section. The attributes section is updated based on the type selected, so check them to ensure they are set up as required. Next, there are 3 tabs available to set as required. Let's start with the calculation method. If setting up an entitlement accrual pay items, there is an extra field called Accrual Method, which is broken down to full contract accrual accrued pro rata or explicit. For more information, please watch the Create an Entitlement Pay Item video. The method is the way the pay item will calculate the value. There are 3 options: amount, rated, or percent of. Precision is based on whether you use rounded or truncated in cents or dollars. The amount can be used as a default for this pay item or left blank if it is different for every employee using this pay item. Set up the frequency of the pay item. Note that if you set this to per fortnight and the employee assigned to this pay item is in a weekly pay run, this would be halved, representing either hours, days, weeks, pieces, units. If rated is selected in the method field, it opens 2 extra sections, rate and units. In the rate section, you can select Use Employees Rate, Custom Rate, or Value Multiplier. In the unit section, you can specify a default number or units if you select Entered. Or select Derived if the number of units needs to be used from another pay item or group of pay items. If % of is selected in the Method field, you can enter a percentage and what the percentage will be calculated on. You can then enter a dollar amount that should be excluded from the total value of the percentage that is calculated. For example, if you want the first $450 free before the percentage is calculated at $1,500, then whether it is per pay or per week. Lastly, the table section displays the pay item, or pay item summed up and used to calculate the pay item's percentage value. The Additional Info tab contains additional settings that affect the pay item. Some sections' availability depends on the pay item's type, visibility, override value, expense allocation settings, self-service, public holiday, workforce management, deductions, analysis, fringe benefit reporting, and superannuation sections are options. In Australia only, the leave loading section may be visible too. Next, select the appropriate code in the General Ledger Purpose code in the Analysis section. Lastly, the Membership tab. This shows all the employees whose standard pay includes the pay item. If changes are made, you can click Recalculate Standard Pays. For now, we will click Save. We've looked at what a pay item is, reviewed pay item types and liabilities, and created a pay item to use during a pay run. You are ready to review and create as many pay items as required.